Hey, yo, what's up, Run Tribe Bike community and Everyday Athlete Clubhouse members? My guy Santino and we are going to be launching, starting now, a bi-weekly series on video exclusively on YouTube about the Everyday Athlete Clubhouse 2026 Run Club Tour. So we're going to give you some previews about what we're thinking about, the things that we're going to be going through between today, December 10th, and actually October 10th. It works out to be exactly 10 months. The wildness in that. And October 10th is a special day because it's with our boy Joe Harden in Lebanon, Indiana for the Hustle in the Heartland 8-hour tour. Santino, what's up, man?
Hanging in there. I'm excited to kind of get into the nuts and bolts of this here, let everybody know what's going on. So hopefully they can start clearing space on their calendars to come join us. And even if not, they can follow us along on this journey.
Dude, we preface all of our stuff and we tell everybody we are open, honest, and vulnerable. And we had a meeting yesterday with Alethea Run, and we're going to talk about those guys in a minute. But I told Armando, like, I am nervous about this train. Like, I am truly nervous about this. I'm excited, but I'm nervous. This is a fucking different world, man.
Well, it is. But here's the thing, obviously you're kind of jumping back in after, I won't even call it a hiatus. You've just been doing something different,
I was on the back of the milk carton, brother. Somebody find this guy.
But I think that's the thing is, it's, I think, one, you're leading by example. Anybody who's been kind of on the fence about, whether they should either get started or get back into it or whatever, this is your guy right here. But then two, beyond that, I think it's really great just to kind of be able to show that, hey, even when we do accomplish, you have no short list of accomplishments here. I'm not just blowing smoke. Even when we do accomplish, a lot of these huge, great things, just in terms of, ridiculous, like every ridiculous ultra in the country, you've got a buckle from Ironman, different tries, things like that. Now you can move on to a different challenge. Yes. And, it's, we're never done learning. That's sort of the lesson that we can take away from this.
And I don't know if you saw this, but Courtney DeWalter just re-entered the marathon space herself.
I did see this.
I'd like to say I was the lead on this. We've been talking about it. So, Courtney, thanks for following in my footsteps and proving we can leave the mountains for a moment and come back and run the roads.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, in case you guys missed it, today, actually, December 10th, we dropped a podcast episode where we recap 2025, or I recap 2025, and we made some announcements on where we are headed for the 2026 Run Club Tour. And go check out that podcast. I'm not going to mention all of them here because I want you to go check out the podcast. Let's be honest. We need some listeners over there. We need some comments over there. You guys have been great. I think we got like 4 or 5 comments in the last few days on some of the episodes that we've been talking about. So I'm pretty excited about that. But give me 1 second. One of the things that we want to talk about is that for the 2026 Run Club Tour, the very first place that we are going to be heading to is Oakland, California for the Oakland Marathon. And it's sort of a open secret, shall we say, that Oakland is where we are planning to going. Santino put up a great video of teasing out Oakland's logo and where we are planning on heading over there. And so I'm pretty excited about that. And I want to show you the logo. Just give me 1 moment to pull it up here on my devices so I can share it with you guys. But we picked Oakland for a couple of reasons, actually more than a couple of reasons. One is it's on the West Coast. We both live here on the West Coast. It's easy to get to. Santino's from the Bay Area, so he knows a lot of the spots around there. We have a connection to Sabrina Lott, who is a coach out in the Bay Area as well. So we're excited about that. And then, Oakland has its stereotype, shall we say. And the stereotype fits who we are, which is gritty. We're here. People are always dismissing us. Sort of the second cousin, right? Oakland's sort of the second cousin to San Francisco. But it's making a name for itself and it's coming out. And that's who we are. right? We have been sort of ignored by the big players for a very long time, and no more. Like, here we are, people. We're going to take up space in these arenas. And so we're going to Oakland. And Santino, I'm going to put this on you. I already mentioned how scared I am about getting into marathon training. Like, what are your thoughts? What were your thoughts when we were looking at the sheet and Oakland was on there? Was it something that you were like, yeah, I can do this?
It's funny you mentioned that. I actually just this morning looked up the course map for the Oakland
Oh, you're better
Marathon.
than me then.
Where are we even running? Because that's
I have no
the
idea.
thing is, it could be, a kind of nice flat whatever. It could be pretty gnarly if they got us going up in the hills or out in the trails. But it looks like it's going to be a pretty good course. It's going to be challenging, but not too challenging. It's not San Francisco. Everybody who knows me and my relationship with the San Francisco Marathon, which that's another stop on our Run Club tour next year, but we'll cross that bridge quite literally when we get to it. But I was very excited just because I ought to be ashamed of myself. We do talk about, Oakland being kind of the underdog like us. And I love San Francisco. Got no problem with San Francisco. But at the same time, as somebody who did grow up in the Bay Area, I always get annoyed when, somebody is from the East Bay like me and they have to make it a point to tell people, oh, I'm from San Francisco. No, you're not. You're from Oakland, or you're from, one of the whatever. So it's like, be proud of that, be proud that this is sort of the more gritty, blue collar, the little engine that could type town here. And so, I think it is kind of the perfect stop to kick off this run tour. Because if you look at kind of the list of cities that we have planned here, that's the majority of them is, I don't want to say places that have been overlooked or whatever, this and that,
Right.
but it's kind of those areas that don't quite get the same respect as other, kind of big cities. And so we want to bring the party to these places, and I think Oakland is the ideal setting to kind of kick things off.
All right. So you looked at the course. I have not looked at the course. I have no idea. When you say you looked at the course, what are we looking at in terms of elevation in Oakland?
That's a good question. I did not check elevation,
So
but
you didn't
it's
look at the course.
mostly well, no, I just looked at the course map. So
Okay.
it's an out and back. We're gonna get a little bridge action tue, which is exciting.
The Oakland Bay
At
Bridge?
least as the Bay Bridge, yes.
That long motherfucker, dude? Seriously?
Well, it doesn't look like you're not running the entire length of the Bay Bridge. It looks like there's a turnaround kind of in the middle. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, but if this map is to be believed.
So for those of you who don't know, I am deathly afraid of bridges. Like I drove across the Oakland Bay Bridge, Lori and I did a few years ago, and I was like, why is this bridge still going? Like, why is it like, why? And so now you're telling me, like, there's a reason I won't run Big Sur, is because when I see that picture across the bridge,
oh, sure,
like one of two things is going to happen. I'm either going to be setting PRs or I'm going to just stop. So now I've got another fear. Thanks.
Here's what I'll tell you though, because again, it's definitely the Bay Bridge is in several parts because it's considerably longer than like the Golden Gate or really any of the other bridges in the Bay Area. I have to stop and think about that now, but it's a pretty long bridge. So we're definitely not doing the whole thing. It's looking like, if there's no mile markers on this here, but if I had to guess, it's looking like maybe a mile each way on the bridge. So it's not going to be, taking up a ton of our time here. The thing I worry about when it comes to that is bottlenecks, because that's definitely going to kind of slow you down. But, with that being said, in March, be having prime weather. It might be pretty beautiful out there. I'm just saying, this might be the cure for what ails you when it comes to bridges.
So have you thought about goals in terms of time for this race?
Well, for me, I I hesitate to put it out there just because the last time I put out a time goal, I failed miserably. But,
Yeah, that's part of
the
growing,
timing
man.
here is the timing here is ideal because in a couple days I am running the Phoenix Marathon, and
Yeah.
really I'm aiming for anything sub 4. I don't know that, a PR is within sight or whatever, because I did look at the elevation there and we got a nice little climb right at the end, which those generally tend to not be my friend, but we'll see. I'm going to say whatever I do at Phoenix, I want to do a little bit better at Oakland, something reasonable within
Cool.
5 minutes. So if I could say, if I do 3:55, if I can finish Oakland at 3:50, I'm a happy camper.
Very cool. So I had Lori look up the average finish time for 52-year-old males in the marathon in, I think, 24 and 2025. And the average
Okay.
finish time obviously ranges. It's going to be somewhere between 4:13 and I think 4:28 was the other number. So immediately I was like, okay, 4:15 should be the goal.
Yeah.
And then I thought, no, dude, you have run sub 4-hour marathons at an Ironman. Like, you should be able to run a sub 4-hour marathon when you don't have to swim 2.4 miles and ride a bike for 112 miles before that. So then immediately I was like, sub 4 hours. And then because I'm an idiot who just is completely competitive with himself, I'm like, 3:45 sounds good. Now, mind you, this is without looking at a single map, without looking at anything, right? I'm just picking a number out of the clear blue sky. So
for sure.
my goal for the for the Oakland Marathon is 3:45. I have no idea if I get there. And so maybe the goal in general for 2026 is to run a 3:45 at one of the 3 marathons we'll be attending this year. So maybe that's the goal.
All right. So why don't we state this intention right now? Because I've never run a 3:45 either. So that would be a PR for me. Why don't we say by the time 2026 is done, one of these marathons we're running at, we're both doing 3:45.
So if I do it at Oakland, do I have to finish the rest of it?
I mean, if you do it at Oakland, you've done it. You've checked it off your list, so you can take it easy in the rest of them.
I could just go and hang out. I don't have to actually run the other races.
Of course, knowing you, I know if you hit 3:45, you're gonna start smelling that 3:30 and start thinking about that.
Dude. So I don't think I've ever told you this story. I trained to try to qualify for Boston probably 15, 16 years ago. I was doing the Las Vegas rock and roll, and it was the very first year they had it at night. And I mean, I was running 20 plus milers at night. Like, I put in so much work. I actually hated it, honestly. Like, it was hard work. And I would say I was a newbie still in trying to figure all of this shit out back then. And I wound up running a 3:31. And so but 3:15 was Boston qualifying time. So I was 16 minutes off pace. And I remember crossing that finish line, dude. I was in tears. I was in utter tears. Like, my body was wrecked, and I was in so much pain. And I was like, I'm never running a marathon again. So maybe it was 14 years ago. Actually, it was 14. It had to be 14 years ago. Because I was like, I'm never fucking running a standalone marathon ever again. And I haven't since. Like, I was wrecked. So the idea of running a 3:30, it sounds on December 10th like the worst idea in the history of ideas. I'll be honest.
For sure. It is one of those things, though, really, where it's like you look at the BQ times, things like that, and I don't know. I guess maybe I'm not as competitive as I thought I was. It's like, I am so happy for anybody who does it, but like,
Same.
that seems to be so not fun for me. Think about doing, not even necessarily, I hate the track, but any sort of speed work or whatever. You're holding that pace for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, if getting that really, and it's beautiful. It's a very nice jacket. Getting that really cool unicorn jacket, is that important to you? Rock on. But like, I don't know, man. I got a lot of jackets in my closet, put it that way.
Honestly, like, the whole idea of these sports for me is they have to be fun. And I didn't enjoy that training. I did not enjoy that.
Exactly. Look, that's the whole thing.
If we start going through this process, I'm week 1 of 16 weeks for Oakland done. We're 3 days into week 2, I guess. And I'm having fun. And if the process continues and it stays fun, then thumbs up. But once it becomes not fun, and that's what I experienced. And again, I was inexperienced at the first go around, and I didn't enjoy it, and I swore it off. And so maybe like doing this run club tour, getting to hang out with people and see people changes the dynamic a little bit where, and if I'm improving and getting faster and getting better, that all of a sudden it becomes something to shoot for. Sure. But as of today, right now, the idea is, look, we're going to try to run 3:45. I have no idea what the qualifying time for Boston for male 50 to 55 is, or how even they break it down. But if that falls within that window and I've run a 3:45 and I've had fun doing it, cool.
No, and that's exactly how I look at it too. It's, it has to be fun at the end of the day, because what are we doing here? At our age, none of us are going to OTQ. It's if we're getting any sort of restitution for it, it's just in terms of merch or whatever. We ain't paying our bills with this. This is supposed to be entertainment. This is supposed to be, challenging ourselves. This is supposed to be, we're staying in shape. We're out here having fun. This is social. I'm not going to sit here and poo-poo anybody at any age who's taking it that seriously. If you got your eyes on the prize like that, more power to you.
Go for it.
But to me, it's like, I've got enough like work in like my real life that I don't need to make my my stress relief work as well. That's how I look at it. So that's not to say that I don't challenge myself. Like I said, I'm very serious. At some point I would like to hit 3:45 in 2026. If I don't, oh well. But if I do, that would be awesome, and that is something I'll work towards. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not going to sit here and kill myself over something that's supposed to be entertaining.
Yeah. So you're racing Phoenix Marathon. That's Sunday?
Saturday. I don't know why it's a Saturday, but it is.
So you're clearly tapering right now. And then you're going to go through how many weeks of recovery before you pick the ball back up, do you think?
Figure I will take probably Monday through Friday off completely, and then just light exercise through the weekend, gauge it there and see how many more days of recovery I need. I don't think I'm really going to get, balls to the wall, full on, marathon training locked in for, I'd say, at least a week and a half, 2 weeks afterwards. So we're looking at about a 12 to 13 week training cycle for Oakland.
Yeah, I was thinking like you'll probably be at 12 weeks. I'll be at 16 weeks. And we're coming at it from different angles. We're different fitness levels. You're already prepped for a marathon right now. I'm coming off a DNF at Javelina where at the end of October, I put in 52 miles, and I almost basically took all of November off. I think my total mileage for November was like 38, 40 miles, something in that vicinity. And so this is what's really cool then. We're coming at this from different angles, different perspectives, different fitness components to race this. And then once we're done with this one, then we're going to sort of be in lockstep for the rest of the year in terms of our training cycles and what that looks like. And life will play a massive role in what happens to us. But it'll be really interesting to see how we become, one over the final handful of months. I guess it would be about 6 months, 7 months for the rest of the year after the Oakland in late March. One of the things I'm really excited about is we're partnering with Alethea Run, who is one of the brand partners for Run Try Bike for this training cycle for the entire year. And so for those of you who don't know, Alethea Run is a wearable. It comes on a belt, you put it on around your waist, and it measures off of your sacrum, essentially your force power. And it creates a map, and you get to see whether or not you're hammering really hard and how you adjust your hips and a whole bunch of other things. And it's an app that works and provides you with some exercises to help improve your imbalances. And so it'll be really cool for us because we're going to put our bodies through a lot of wear and tear for 2026, dude. And having Alethea Run accompany us on this journey and get us, sort of right side up, shall we say, I think is really cool. And I think there's some comfort in having a partner like Alethea Run for this, in this new excursion for me into the marathon world. I want to ask you in terms of like leveraging their product to help you, because you've been running roads. You ran San Francisco last year. So you're accustomed to running on the roads and all of that good stuff. Is this something that gives you an excitement to say, what am I not, what can I improve upon? Not what am I doing wrong, but what can I improve upon?
Most definitely. And in fact, it's funny. I kind of had my last sort of little taper run this morning, and I was thinking about that. I had to really kind of consciously remind myself that, hey, this is a short run. Don't overdo it, whatever, this and that. And I was thinking, it would be really cool to just kind of see, where my progress has been this whole time. And so I am kind of really interested in, having that sort of map that I can go off of, for future marathon training blocks. Beyond that, I'm admittedly not the most technically correct runner in the world. And, we've had this discussion before. I don't necessarily put a ton of stock into things like 180 cadence or whatever, just because there have been times where I've really tried to get that up and ended up hurting myself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it would kind of be interesting to see, it's like, what adjustments can I make, to, again, not even necessarily, we're not trying to be Q here or whatever, but let me be a bit more efficient runner. Let's see, what I can really get out of, similar effort levels if, everything is just tightened up a little bit here. So for me, just kind of being able to have access to this information is going to be, really fascinating. I'm hoping that, it comes off as, not just a learning experience, but sort of a big overall change. And, beyond that, I will, recommend that anybody who's listening, and obviously, over the course of this, we're going to kind of give you guys the ins and outs of Alethea with the wearables, the apps, everything like that. But I would recommend, just if you haven't familiarized yourselves with them, look them up. It's really, really fascinating how they break it down into numbers, the kind of the mathematics of your running, if you will. And I know, I don't really want to spill the beans, but I know they have some new things that we were discussing with Armando that'll be rolling out next year that are really going to be exciting as well. And I hope that we can kind of be on the forefront of that, sharing that with people. But yeah, I mean, really, this is, incredible information that we have access to now. And I'm super excited to get to work with Alethea on it.
Yeah, and I interviewed Cooper Boydston on our fireside chat. So I'll drop a link in that. And he goes into sort of the science behind what Alethea Run provides to athletes. And I had talked to Armando before Cooper came on, and he said Cooper's really into the science. Like, he's, for all intents and purposes, a science geek about all of the data itself. And I said, well, can he talk to our audience at a 5th grade level so that they're capable of understanding what it is? And he did a great job. So I'll drop that link in here. And I've been running with Garmin for years. I used the Whoop band for years. This will be something new and different. Like, I've never thought about, force impact on running from right leg, rotation of your body when it comes to this stuff. So I'm pretty excited about what we're going to see happen. Can you hear the leaf blower?
A little bit, but that's hey, we do things a little different out here, so it's all good.
The best part about this is that we live in an apartment building, right? We don't have trees. Like, what's the leaf blower for, man?
Right? But
it's
really, what's the leaf
wild.
blower for most of the time? It's like...
No idea. One of the things I want to also talk about today is this whole idea of the Run Club Tour and what we're going to be doing throughout 2026 and traveling across the country. And you and I have had private conversations about it, but we might as well make it public because we're going to be recording a show every 2 weeks. What are your goals? What do you hope that this Run Club Tour accomplishes?
Are we talking personal or just in terms of the Run Club? Because I have goals on both sides.
Both.
I mean, personally, for me, it is, just kind of getting out there. And, this year now, this Saturday, this will be my 3rd marathon on the year, which is, a record for me. So next year I'll be, even surpassing that number, which, that's just kind of huge for me as somebody who, I've been into running on and off for most of my adult life, but really I didn't start taking it seriously until about 5 years ago. And, just in that time, being able to kind of build up to running multiple marathons in a calendar year is incredible to me. But beyond that, it's the personal connection it is. And, we have such a great community here already, just in terms of the EAC and, just people who kind of interact with Run Try Bike online, on Instagram, on Threads, things like that. And, a lot of people who I've never met IRL, but I consider friends, and that's the thing is I'm looking forward to being able to connect on a personal level with a lot of these people. And you know what? Even the people who I haven't interacted with yet, even people who maybe haven't even come across RTB or the EAC yet, being able to kind of sit and chat with these people, get a run in with them, kind of hear their stories, their experiences, things like that. Because I think that kind of helps us develop not just as runners, but just as people in general, is, having that interaction, making these connections with people out there over, a common shared interest.
Yeah, I think for me, like getting to meet people when we do the run in the new city, from a selfish standpoint, it'll help ease my nerves to be able to run with some people instead of like, oh, I'm going to go do a 20-minute, 30-minute run and be nervous thinking about the marathon the whole time. Or we're going to be in Salt Lake City thinking about, okay, we're going to go run, this half marathon in the mountains, and just plotting all of that stuff in my own head. And so being able to run with some people for a handful of minutes, chit chatting, like just removing the thought of what's coming up is something I'm really excited about. That for me is a lot of what this run club tour is about. Go ahead. You were going to say something?
Oh, no. I'm right there with you on that. I think that's the thing is, just kind of going back to what we were saying earlier. It's really keeping it fun that way. We're not taking ourselves too seriously out there. We are. I know for me, there's literal cities on this stop that I've never been to before. I've never been to Indiana. I've never been to Pittsburgh. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be fun to run in these new environments, check them out.
Yep.
But then beyond that, just the interactions when you're there, the people who, they've grown up there, they have this unique perspective and they can tell you about X, Y, and Z, whatever. And it's like, hey, I'm getting the inside knowledge here, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. I think there's something really fun about that.
Yeah, like so in Oakland, I've been talking to Sabrina a lot about connecting with her run club, and I'm going to reach out to my contact at GOO and see if we can get some stuff set up between the run club and GOO, and getting some miles in and getting some people from East Bay area to come and hang out for that run. Des, I've talked to him a number of times about when we're in San Francisco for the San Francisco Marathon, about getting together and figuring out how to get together for, again, his run club, the San Francisco Running Company, along with some other folks to get that run in. Pittsburgh with Val Porter. She's got a whole crew out there that is nothing but fun. And so getting to meet her and run with that whole crew out there is going to be amazing. I know we're going to Seattle, where Lori and I lived for a year. So just being able to go back to the old stomping grounds would be fun, and connect with community and people there. And then also Salt Lake City, like we mentioned earlier. But then I think like the fact that we're finishing it all off in Lebanon, Indiana, which, right, if you had to look for a map of Lebanon and find Lebanon, Indiana, you would probably not get it for like 5 hours until you finally found it. But getting to hang out with Joe and Joe and his whole posse up there, it's going to be fantastic.
Oh, it really is. It really is. And that's kind of the thing, because it's like, the only reason I even knew of the existence of Lebanon, Indiana is because that's where you have to if you send your Nikes in for a warranty claim, that's where you send them.
No shit. Really?
Yes. Yeah. I'm assuming they must have a warehouse or something out there.
How is that possible? Because Joe says they don't even have like a UPS or a FedEx in Lebanon, Indiana. How the fuck does it get to the place?
I have no clue. That was the first time I heard of it. So it was like, oh, okay, they got a Lebanon out in Indiana. Okay. But I think, that one especially I'm looking forward to just because it is, this is probably going to be our biggest opportunity to get the entire gang together. So everybody who's watching right now, if you can't clear your schedule for any other stop on the Run Club tour, make sure you carve out some time for Hustle in the Heartland, because it's going to be such a celebration. It's going to be a celebration of you, of RTB, of the EAC. It's going to be a party, and we want you there. That's the main thing. But I mean, all the stops are going to be a party, but that one especially.
I'm going to need you to keep filibustering. The gentleman with the leaf blower thinks he's like blowing trees everywhere.
No, absolutely.
Folks, let me tell you this.
Oh, go on.
Folks, let me tell you this. Like, if you haven't caught on yet, the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network is almost always off the rails. There you go. Thank you. Perfect timing. And
I think we need some sort of leaf blower merch for this episode.
He's literally blowing the dust off the bar top outside. Like, why?
Fantastic. Well, hey, you know what? I'm not going to tell anybody how to do their job. It could be the kind of thing where it's like, hey, he's not ready to come back in for whatever reason, but timing is impeccable, that's for sure. Hey, but you know what? We love you, leaf blower guy. You serve a very specific purpose, and we would miss you if you weren't there.
Dude, the funniest thing about this is, like, I purposely came down here to do this at 11 o'clock or so, because I knew that they normally are here at 10, and they do their leaf blowing at 10 for whatever reason. That's the schedule. So now he's an hour behind, and now he's like,
no, that's right. he was just waiting for us. He wanted to get a front row seat to the inaugural episode here.
Sitting in the truck outside on Sunset as I was waiting for me to come into the building.
Right.
I tell you what, dude, like, if that's the worst thing that happens on this tour, then we have hit a home run. I'm excited about all of this stuff. I'm nervous as shit about the training plan. I'm nervous as shit about the speed work, but a lot of that stuff gets trumped by the idea of just being able to, one, do it with you. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to go through this process with you, and share these behind the scenes conversations every 2 weeks with our friends and family who are watching this, and let them realize, like, hey, we're going to go through this training cycle with these guys. Because here's the other thing. I didn't even think about this. We're sort of leading by example. So for people who are training for their first marathons, we'll be able to get connected with me, who is going through their first training cycle in 14 years. And those that have run multiple marathons in a year will go through it with you as well, and be able to see how you're coping with, the workouts and the strength training and all the other things that come along with it. The having to skip a workout because that's going to happen, the travel issues that are going to happen, and all of that good stuff. So I think this will be really fun to go through the process and sort of have like that real life connection to people, so they can see what we're going through. We're not just some small little square on Instagram.
No, absolutely. And that is, I've always enjoyed the sort of the vlogs of, oh, hey buddy. I've always sort of enjoyed the vlogs of, kind of the more elite marathoners as they kind of share their process. And it's like, this is cool as something to watch, but it doesn't necessarily apply to me because,
Right.
Yeah, I'm not banging out, 5:30 miles on my easy runs. Like, okay, I'm sitting here with a cat on my back right now. You know what I'm saying? So for the regular people that, are kind of in the thick of it while juggling real life as well, this is sort of an alternative to that. And I'm certainly not talking shit on that because, like I said, I love those. I still watch all of them. Stephen Scullion, Philly Bowden, all of them. You guys are awesome if you happen to be watching us right now. But we want to kind of be that for, the mom and dad out in the burbs who are, juggling 40 hours a week and taking the kids to, whatever sporting events and, just kind of dealing with what life throws at them while also preparing to run a marathon. So, that's kind of what we provide is we are this. Hey, this is very real right now. We're not living a curated existence like a lot of your favorite influencers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we got leaf blower, man.
Yeah, leaf blowers and cats. That's those are going to be our mascot. Maybe we'll get a cat with a leaf blower as our mascot for this Run Club tour.
All right, let's wrap this up. I'm gonna get ready. I hope I have an easy run today, because if I have speed work today, I'm totally fucked. I didn't even think about it. But I'm gonna wrap this up, get this produced, put on air. We'll do this again in 2 weeks. Oh, in 2 weeks is Christmas Eve. Are you capable of doing one on Christmas Eve?
Absolutely. No, that's, hey, I'm now we of course discuss growing up. I don't know if it's the same when you grow up Puerto Rican as it is Cuban, but Cuban Christmas Eve is Cuban Christmas. So
Yes.
I by Christmas Eve, there's no rushing anymore. Whatever isn't done isn't getting done, put it that way. So I'm totally on board to jump on Christmas Eve.
All right, cool. We'll have to figure it out, because I know we'll be in Philadelphia for Christmas Eve, Christmas. So maybe if we do it early in the morning and bang it out, we'll be done with it.
Sounds perfect.
So we're going to sign off. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, everybody. If you have questions for us, shoes that we're running, gear that we're running in, we gave you our goals for the whole year, what we're planning on doing. I don't know. If you have questions for us, drop them in here and we'll answer them as each next episode comes out. So we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks, dude, for joining me.
Of course. Thank you.